Interestingly, South Florida is one of the most challenging locations for boats kept in the water and anti-fouling protection. And that's because of the extreme warmth of the climate and the water, the nutrients flowing from the Gulf Stream as it heads north, but more importantly, all of the somewhat destructive and toxic nutrients that flow south from Lake Okeechobee. Lake Okeechobee often discharges both to the east coast of Florida as well as on the west coast of Florida, on the Gulf Coast. All that water is, number one, fresh water, so it's reducing salinity. And number two, it has a lot of fertilizers and other nutrients that encourage the growth of algae, but really aren't great for the environment. The fact is, they're there. So when you combine extreme warmth, growth favorable conditions, and man-made pollution that further enhances the growing environment for algae and all kinds of gross stuff that fouls the bottom of your boat, it makes it incredibly challenging. So, Seahawk BioCop TF is the single best bottom paint you can use for a sailing vessel, a power motor yacht, a recreational powerboat, any boat that sits in the water. BioCop TF is the single best anti-fouling paint. And that comes directly from a top executive at AkzoNobel who owns All Grip, Interlux, and Seahawk. And to be clear, there's no sponsorship or anything happening here. This is strictly informational. And of course, BioCop TF certainly meets all of those very strict environmental requirements. So, BioCop TF is a semi-ablative, self-polishing bottom paint. It also has a dual biocide formulation. One applies to soft growth, like gross algae and things like that. The other applies to hard growth, like nasty barnacles. If you ever tried to remove barnacles from a boat, you know how difficult and destructive they can be. BioCop is semi-ablative, so it's self-polishing, so it keeps the bottom of your hull very smooth and slick to enhance speed. But of course, nothing will slow your boat down like a bunch of barnacles or green goop resisting the flow. I mean, that's the most important thing to maintaining your boat's speed and performance. But whether salt, fresh, brackish, big, small, sailing, power, BioCop TF is the single most effective anti-fouling bottom paint you can apply to your vessel.